Hello everyone. So we have now the question why power sharing is desirable. As we had already seen the conditions of Belgium and Sri Lanka with power sharing and without power sharing. So let us find out the reasons. If we talk about the reasons for power sharing being desirable, we have got two sets of reasons. The very first is prudential reason and the next is moral reason. Let us look at prudential reasons. See, when we talk about prudential reasons, it actually means logical reasons, reasons which have got some logic. Let us see the first set. Reduce the possibility of conflicts between social groups. As you had already seen this, see, when in Belgium power sharing was adopted, it has reduced the conflicts between both the language groups. So we can clearly say that it is a logic that if there is power sharing, it will reduce the possibility of conflicts between social groups. The second reason is it is a good way to ensure stability of political order. See, if there is power sharing, then people will be satisfied with the leaders and the political order will remain stable. Let us look at the third way. Imposing the will of majority community over others undermines the unity of the nation, which we had already seen in Sri Lanka. In Sri Lanka, as the will of majority was imposed over the minority community, which was Tamil, it had undermined the unity of the nation. Both the communities started fighting with each other, and it caused a civil war. So we had got the set of potential reason. The first reason is it reduces the possibility of conflicts between social groups, and second, it is a good way to ensure stability of political order. Third, imposing the will of majority community over others undermines the unity of the nation. So let us look at our second set of reason, that is moral reasons. Moral reasons are quite simple and you will be easily able to understand them. Power sharing is the very spirit of democracy, as we all know. Second, people have a right to be consulted on how they are to be governed. This is the moral thing, that people have the right to be consulted how they are to be governed. Then the third is a legitimate government is where citizens through participation acquire a stake in the system. That means we all should have, being a citizen, we all should have a kind of participation in the decisions taken by the government. So here the reasons for power sharing being desirable gets over. So we have got two sides which you had already seen. So let us move forward. See, if we look at the power sharing, this idea, from where this idea comes, this idea of power sharing is actually opposing the notion or the idea of undivided political rule, means single rule. Undividable political rule means single rule, where the king will be there or the dictatorship will be there, means the will of only the one person will be entertained, but it should not happen in a democracy. Therefore, the idea of power sharing opposes the notion of undivided political rule. Now, let us move forward on the very important part of this chapter, forms of power sharing. In modern democracy, most common power sharing arrangements that we have or we will come across are, the very first is among different organs of the government. See, when we talk about different organs of the government, you must remember that we are talking about organs. Okay, here what is needed to be needed to be more can be said as pressurized or more important is organs. Okay, you must know among the organs, among government at different labels. Then third is among different social groups, and power sharing arrangements can also be seen in the way political parties, pressure groups and movements control or influence those power. Let us discuss it. See, when we talk about among different organs of the government, see, organs in the sense, organs are there are three main organs which you had already studied. in your previous class you had studied legislature, executive, and judiciary. So these are the organs of the government. They are having equal powers, and thus they are also known, this distribution of power is also known as horizontal distribution of powers. Then if we talk about labels, labels is in the sense we have got different labels, and other countries too have different labels. Like in Belgium we had seen that it had state government, it had cultural government. Similarly we too have state governments and central government, local government as panchayats and nagarpalikas. So these are actually the labels, and labels are actually not having equal division of powers. They do not have equal power. Central is more powerful, state is a little bit lesser than central, then the local government is the least powerful government, but they all have different kinds of powers. So this kind of label, this kind of division of powers among different labels of the government is known as vertical division of power. So you must remember, when we are dividing the government or the power between the organs, so it is said to be horizontal division, and when we are dividing the power between different labels like state government, central government, or local government, it is said to be the vertical division of powers. Let us talk about social groups. Social groups, as you had already seen, we have got many groups, those who have later on turned into parties also. So there are many groups, social groups, linguistic groups, or community governments are community government was also an example of social group. So different kinds of linguistic group, or some regional groups, or some other kind of group. For some, like for women's there is a social group. So this kind of groups are called social group, and they also influence, and sometimes they later on change into parties also. So they also have some power to change the decisions of the government if they have taken wrong decisions. Similarly, if we talk about the fourth power sharing arrangement, can also be seen in the way political parties, pressure groups, and movements control and influence the power. So we all know, when political parties take protest, and pressure groups start protest, or movements are started, many decisions of the government are required or are compulsory to change. So this way they can change the decisions, and they therefore we can say that they have got some power, or the government has shared some power between the political parties, pressure groups, and movements. So here it all goes over, and for that, the next one you can study more about the chapter and keep learning.